Okay. Welcome to Educators with Oil. I'm your hostess, Ronnette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. Today, I have a special guest, and that is our very own Patrick Briggs from avid.org. I say avid.org, it's just avid, right?
Yes, ma'am. Hmm.
Avid, who is the Northeast director of the Northeast region. So, how are you today, Patrick?
I'm yet holding on, as the ancestors say. Yeah, I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have you here. I am just happy that you decided to join us and give us your expertise on this subject that like is when I heard you speaking about opportunity gaps and how it affects black and brown students. To me, it's mostly, my people. I worry about,
Right,
not saying I don't worry about everybody else, but I do, because our demographic now is changing so much. But it's something that is dear to me, talking about
right,
opportunity gaps with our
right.
students, and
Yes,
what's happening and how come we're not excelling in education as other
yes,
people are. So
yes.
just having you have that subject, I knew I had to run up there and talk to you about it. So again, I'm excited that you decided to join.
Anytime. Yes.
And so, with that in mind, with that, the subject of opportunity gaps in education, could you explain that to somebody who would not know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I can. Yes. Okay. So, we in education, we talk about a lot of gaps, mainly the achievement gap. Now, that's a lingo term we use, or even media use, to talk about that students perform differently. And what we do in this country is we lump kids into groups. So we say this group performs better than this group, or that group performs higher than that group. And we start in education calling that a gap. And typically it's the achievement gap. And a lot of times it's around demographics. So it could be around race, or it could be around socioeconomic status, or it could be about ability or disability. So there are a lot of ways we start grouping kids and then saying, this group performs better than this group. And we call that a gap. In education, we say it's an achievement gap because this group of kids performed way up here. Look at them. Look, oh, this group of kids performed way down here. Look at them as a group. That is an end result. The gap is what happens at the end of the school year when the kids take the test. The kids take a test. That's the end result. They've been in school 180 days. They've been getting education all year. One test, we spit it out and say, look at all these gaps between these groups. That's an end result, the achievement gap, because the result was kids performed differently. I don't want to look at that lagging indicator. I want to look at the leading indicator. What caused the achievement gap? That's where the opportunity gap comes in. When we go through 180 days of instruction, what we start to see is different kids have different opportunities. This group of kids had an opportunity that this group of kids didn't have. And we let that play out all year long. And at the end of the year, we get test results back and say, look, we got an achievement gap. That's an end result. How did you get there? And so for me, I'm about closing opportunity gaps. I don't want to wait until a test to find out, oh, look, kids perform differently. I want to mitigate that throughout the entire year by closing opportunity gaps. If this group gets an opportunity, I want this group to have an opportunity. So it's about closing opportunity gaps. So the short, long story short, too late.
Mhm.
The short of it is, what can we do to make sure every kid has the same opportunities, or opportunities that are appropriate for that child all year long? And then at the end of the year, we'd say, oh, wow, look, there's no gap in how they performed because we closed the opportunities they get.
Oh my goodness. I love you could say that. I could put that on a billboard,
Yeah.
because I am when you said that is the end result, I'm like,
Yes.
Yes, you're right. In my head, I'm like wanting to scream. And I've been talking to people about what we can do. Even after even standing in the auditorium that day when you told us to talk in groups and I'm saying the same thing. So what are you gonna do? Because we have all kind of excuses. The
Right.
district isn't doing this, the district isn't doing that, they're not
Yeah.
providing this. So what are you going to do? So we have, as educators, just the teachers themselves, we do have an uh I say an obligation. Maybe people don't think it's an obligation to try to fill that gap, make that
Yes.
gap smaller. And so, man, you don't know I'm in heaven right now.
All right. Come on. As I say, somebody missed they shout. Come on.
Because that's like, so now what do we do about that? What do we
Yes.
do? We have issues. We have issues. We have what is causing those issues. I know
Yeah.
there's all kind of um uh, factors that play in, education of teachers, education of the district, the who money. We just talked about that. So there's so many things. So what causes it, and then how can we feel it, in your opinion, or
Yes.
and using facts, because we know
Yes.
you can put some facts to everything and we can make it work. That's
Yeah.
my I'm black and white type person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, as you said, there are so many variables. There are so many different reasons that lead to the end result of an achievement gap. So, the first thing we have to do is we have to focus on the leading indicators. Focus on what causes an achievement gap. Because what I see a lot of schools do is they start chasing the achievement gap. They start chasing test score. We're going to do test prep. We're going to give a kid 2 math classes and he doesn't get to go to PE. Or because we're chasing the end result. And I say, stop. You got to chase what is causing that. Start chasing the opportunity gap. Another big gap is the expectation gap. Who do we expect to go on and do great things and be college, career, military, life, workforce ready? And who do we not expect? So a lot of variables. But what I say is the adults in the building. First of all, you stop blaming children. Children are children.
Absolutely.
Children gonna do
Yes.
what they do. The adults in the building. I can't control mama. I can't control daddy. I can't control neighborhood. I can't control poverty. But as a person who's been teaching for 34 years, what I do know is I can control what happens in the schoolhouse, in my classroom as a teacher. As a teacher, I had 150 kids a day. I was in direct control of what happened with them. Now, it helps when you start to close. Another thing that causes the achievement gap, the expectation gap. Because as a first year teacher, I was a hot mess. But I had different expectations of kids. Oh, the honors kids come in.
In my
I'm
class.
I'm gonna behave differently because I expect different things from them. See, your expectations drive your behaviors. Your beliefs drive
Uh-huh.
your behaviors. When you don't ever ask me why she do that, I can tell you why she do that. What she tells you, what she's showing you is what she believes. Beliefs drive behaviors. So
Yeah.
my regular kids would come in and I couldn't stand them at first year teacher. I didn't know anything
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they wouldn't sit down, they wouldn't get quiet, they wouldn't do what I did. Because most teachers became teachers because school was good to and for them. We were in our little
That's
honors program. We so
absolutely.
most of the children in this country are taught by a bunch of people who like school, and school was good to us, and school was good for us. And we went on to college, and we were like, we came out of college thinking that everybody was going to be like us. They were going to sit still and do what the teacher said. That's just not true, nor do they have to. When people say they got to, turns out they don't. So I realized the kids who were doing really well were the ones I expected to do well. They were no smarter or brighter or better than any other kid, but I expected them to do well. So I behaved differently with them. I gave them different opportunities. So my honors kids would come in and they would sit down and do whatever I said, and so I would let them do group work. I would let them do projects. I would let them sit on the floor. I would let them collaborate. I'd have fun teaching them. My behavior was, the bell is about to ring. Y'all push those desks together because fourth period's coming in here and they gonna sit in straight rows, straight desk and do worksheets and they better not talk. Now, those kids coming in fourth period were as smart as the kids who are about to leave. My expectation and belief drove my behavior. So they didn't get the great opportunities to collaborate and work in groups and have high expectations from me because the class that just left, they gonna be doctors, lawyers, they going to college. This group coming in, hot mess. Those two groups of kids were the same. It was my belief that drove my expectations of them, which drove my behavior. I created an achievement gap. I created that because I perpetuated for 180 days. I perpetuated huge opportunity gaps and I perpetuated huge expectation gaps. So the next year when they say, oh, recommend some kids for honors. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Not the rest of them. And those kids were no smarter. But guess what? They were now going to get a different opportunity because an adult had a different expectation of them. See, I'm a product of that. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
I got to be in my little honors program in my middle school and high school. And even in college, I was in my little honors program. I realize now I'm no smarter than everybody. I used to walk around. I'm in the honors program. Who cares?
Yeah.
I was in the honors program because great teachers recognized something in me and treated me differently, gave me opportunities they didn't give everybody else, had expectations of me they didn't expect from everybody else. Patrick, we expect you to go to college. You're going to do great things. I'm like, what about my brothers and my cousins and Pookie, Kiki, Day and them? They are smarter than I'll ever be. Well, they weren't going to get that opportunity. Smarter than I'll ever be, but adults had different expectations of them. Adults gave them different opportunities. And then they were shocked at the end of the year when there was an achievement gap. Like, you spent 180 days creating that. Don't be shocked.
Yes. You know what? I talked to my daughter. She has 3 kids. One graduated and she has a middle schooler and an elementary school student. And our high school in our town, I was a substitute and I got the opportunity to see 3 different schools in one high school. 3 different schools. I was subbing in the honors class, I was subbing in a special ed class, and I was subbing in a general ed class. And this is what was astounding was the other sub in the special ed class was an honors teacher. What do you think he expected from those students? He's counting to 10 before he called the security. I didn't see what was wrong. You know, I don't know because I'm just like their kids and they're in the classroom. Why are you counting? Why did you tell them what you want them to do? He didn't. He expected them to sit still. And I went to the honors class. Guess what? The teacher told the students what to do. I had to do nothing except sit in that classroom. I had to do nothing. She was in there. She left for a meeting. She said, this is what you do. You know what to do. They got in their groups. They talked. They did their work. If they did their work, I don't know. But they had no supervision. I mean, I was the supervision. They paid me for it.
Right.
And general ed class, it was the same. It was the third school. It was so different. It was more students in the classroom, of course, and just the atmosphere was different. It was like, we expect you to act up in the back of the classroom. We expect you to sit up in the front and do your work. And me, myself, I taught preschool for over 10 years, so now I can't sit still. I can't. So my students,
none of us can.
I don't know how. I learned years ago that teachers are the ones who can sit long periods of time in a classroom. So that's why we expect it. But now I can't do it. I can't do it. So
I can't do it either. No. And teachers, you know, you've been in a faculty meeting. You've seen us. I'm talking about us. Don't get mad at me. I'm talking about us. I've dedicated 34 years of my life to being a school teacher. I'm talking about us. You ought to see us in the faculty meeting or in the professional development. You ought to see us on our phones, do a text on our newspaper. Got to leave early. Got to go get my kid.
Then what is this? Then why do we expect our students? That's just a little portion of it that we expect our students to sit still and listen all day. what is that? Like, why? What is that? Where do we get that from? I don't know. Maybe that's the old way
Yeah,
of teaching.
yeah. That's it. The biggest part of it is we come out of teachers college teaching the way that worked for us. When I didn't get, and I went to a great school, but I got what they gave teachers, which is a lot of theory, a lot of research. Let's talk about somebody from the 1800s who started schools. Let's talk about Horace Mann. Let's talk about Piaget. Let's talk about B.F. Skinner. Let's talk about all these people that researched education to what we know it today. And what they didn't tell us is what you gonna do when a kid is on his cell phone cursing you out because you trying to take it? See, that wasn't in the teacher's class, but they told you in
No.
the 1800s, B.F. Skinner did some experiments with a dog, and we had to spend a whole semester learning about him experimenting on a dog and the dog salivating at the bell.
At the bell.
Yeah, yeah. So most of us, if we went to college and did well, it was because we knew how to do school. We
Yeah.
knew, and school worked for us. So I did. I came out of teachers college teaching 12-year-old people the way that worked for me. And
Yeah.
what I didn't know at the time was I was an anomaly. I was one of
Yeah.
the few people that it worked for. Because now I look back and now we can look at the data and show most people don't have a college degree. It's
Right.
not about intelligence. It's not about intelligence. It's about opportunities and expectations. And I went on to college because middle school and high school were good to me. And that's what you did. You just kept going to school and you're going to get your little degree and think you're going to be somebody. And I came out trying to teach people I was teaching little Patricks. And everybody's not a little Patrick.
Yeah. So okay. So we said we have there is the way we teach. That's a
Yeah.
big thing.
I always tell people, and this is not my quote, this famous quote, if kids don't learn the way you teach the way they learn.
Absolutely. That's at the end of all my emails. Well, for my
Mhm.
regular email, I have a whole bunch of emails now. I don't think it's there, but yeah, and that's what I had a little girl in my class who she was struggling. Okay, just say I refer her for whatever reason. You have to refer students. But until in the meantime, what am I going to do? I had a teacher. I had
Right.
a teacher.
Mhm.
So, okay, we have to get out manipulatives. We have to, I teach second grade. We have to bring out manipulatives. Then we have to draw things just for math. This is not numbers. I can't give her numbers like the actual number. No, she can write the numbers, but she has to figure out how to add and subtract those numbers with manipulatives and drawings. And that's how she learned. Then I have the other end. I had the other end who you just give him a number and he can add it, subtract it, do divide it, do whatever in second grade. But I had to teach them how they learn. He didn't need those manipulatives. I let him see it so he could see what it is exactly he's doing. But yeah, that's the way we teach how they learn. And
Yeah.
that is going to help close that opportunity gap. What about
Right.
what?
Because you're giving them the opportunity to learn how they learn. And what I'm hearing you say, you're doing a great job of differentiating instruction because every kid is not the same. And that's, part of the issue is we treat every kid the same. They get the same test. They have to get to sit through the same worksheet. This is, I got 30 kids, so I'm just going to teach them all the same because it's easier on me. But those 30 kids are completely different human beings.
Oh, wow. You know, I know I don't I'm trying to see like I said, we were in the end of our meeting with you having conversations, and after that the next few days because I'm just this is me, this is what I talk about.
Right,
And
right.
I had another episode where I had various educators, and I had he's a congressional candidate for New Jersey. We were all on talking about how do we build the students up to meeting the standards. What is it that we do? We all have different reasons for whatever's happening, but this is something that'll cause a conversation. So after that conversation, this is where I am right now. After that conversation, we understand the opportunities aren't there. What do we as teachers do? Because
Yeah.
We don't make excuses.
Yeah. 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 Here's the thing that will mitigate everything: great instruction. There is nothing better. There's nothing that can do a better job at closing all of the gaps than great instruction. So, the biggest thing or the best thing we can do is invest in the professional learning for teachers to understand how to teach all kids. And I'm not saying teachers, we don't know how to do that,
Yeah.
because Ron Edmonds is really good at saying, the great Ron Edmonds said, we already know how to do that. We already know how to, everything that needs to happen in a school so that all kids are successful, we already know how to do it. I'm paraphrasing Ron Edmonds. He says, whether we do it or not depends on how we feel about the fact that we have it. How do you feel about half the kids not doing this, or half the kids not graduating, or 8% of the kids dropping out? How do you feel? If you sleep at night, that tells me exactly what you're going to do about it. It wasn't until I got hot and said, oh God, no, not on my watch. Not on my watch. I will lose 0 children. Zero is the only acceptable number for me in terms of who won't be successful, who won't fail, who is going to go on and do great things or not. So I said, the one thing I control, Big Mama always said, you don't run anything but your mouth. Turns out I do run one other thing: instruction. Great instruction mitigates poor behavior. Great instruction mitigates gaps. So what I love doing is teaching teachers strategies so that all students can be successful. It's like what you were doing, like that differentiation you were describing. Think about what I did in the workshop you attended.
Yeah.
I had probably 1,000 people in the room. I don't remember, but it was a lot of y'all.
Yeah.
So don't tell me about class size. You say my class size is okay. I had 1,000 people. I got you beat. Don't tell me what can't be done when you have great instructional strategies. So notice what I did for you all. I didn't just lecture. Y'all didn't just sit and get. Every time I figured about your average age, I said, they're going to get up, they're going to move, they're going to talk, they're going to write, they're going to think, they're going to write, they're going to read. Notice that and I don't remember how long that was, but I kept you engaged in the learning. I kept you involved in the learning. I had the learning at a high level of rigor because you were constantly having to apply the things I was saying. And then I had you get up, and I had collaborative structures. Note, that's a choice, because I could have chosen, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I did like a workshop in her school district. I could have just stood on the stage at a podium and just talked at y'all for however long that was. I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes. That's an instructional choice. An instructional choice would have been to say, all right, thank you all for coming. Today, I'm going to talk about closing gaps in education. I would like for you to take out your textbooks and turn to page 53. Make sure you have your note paper, and I'm going to put some slides on the screen. That is a choice. I could have done that for an hour and 15 minutes. You saw what I chose to do. So great instruction is a choice. You have to choose to do it. It's not easy. It's very easy to have straight rows, straight desks, pass out packets of worksheets. That's easy. But is it great instruction? So one of the things we have to do is calibrate what is great instruction. Because if I were to ask you and her and him and her and them and they, what's great instruction, we're going to get 50 different answers. Until we can all come up with one, we have way too much variability. You see it in your school or in all schools. You teach 8th grade history. Right next door is another section of 8th grade history. The two teachers are teaching different. The kids in those rooms are getting a different experience. By definition, one of them is better than the other. One, the kids are more engaged than the other. One, the kids are working at a higher level of rigor. One, the kids are able to apply their understanding. In the other room, they just get a lot of knowledge and comprehension and copying notes off the board. Great instruction. That's the only way, by the way. Great instruction. Don't tell me about money. Don't tell me about class size. Don't tell me about mama, daddy. Don't tell me about they don't care. Don't tell me about the liquor store on the counter. Don't tell me none of that. Great instruction. And it's the one thing you control.
Oh my goodness, you sound like we have had a whole conversation before. That is, I talk to people and I say if it depends on the curriculum. Like we had one particular curriculum for literacy that it it was like it had visual, it had hands-on, it had group work, it had so many things where you could just write and highlight and discuss. It had discussions, and then you could
Mhm,
go off
mhm.
on it. Had everything that you could use for a classroom to keep the students engaged and to actually grasp the information you're trying to give them.
Yeah,
And I loved it. And I so that made me say, you teach the curriculum, you shouldn't have this problem. That's where I was. Then I get to another curriculum, didn't have all that. So it wasn't the curriculum, it's the
no,
way you teach.
yeah,
I thought it was you get with the curriculum, follow that curriculum, you're gonna be good because that's research based. Then I get to another curriculum in literacy. I hate it. It's boring to
yeah,
me. I'm
yeah,
talking, talking, talking,
yeah,
and it didn't work. It didn't
yeah,
work.
yeah. Mhm. No, it's not the
So
curriculum because what you're saying is like, okay, I can give you a script. I can give you here it is. But every teacher is very different. It's the same thing. I could give this script to Viola Davis, or I could give this script to Mini Me.
yeah, me. I was
They
saying,
got
yeah,
the
I might
same
have to.
script.
Right.
I'm gonna want to go see the movie with Viola Davis because I know she's gonna teach it. She's
Yeah.
gonna take that curriculum and bring it to life for
Mhm.
students. I can give that same script to another teacher. That's the reason why we giving out awards. For not we. I don't give out. I don't know why the entertainment industry has to give out so many awards, but they give out awards, and
Yeah.
it's it's not about the script.
No.
It's about who brings that to life. Now there are a lot of people behind the scenes. You got the director, you got the producers. That's why you got the principals, you got the directors of instruction. All of that has to come together. But at the end of the day, the one thing is that actress with the script delivering it to the audience. It is that teacher with great instruction reaching children. That's the one thing you can control, and you can control that every day. You control how you feel, you control the expectations. There's that story, and I don't know if it's true or not, that we tell in education circles about this teacher comes in and the principal gives her class list, and she looks at it and says, "Ooh, John 133, Mary 142." And she says, "Oh my gosh, this is their IQs. They're genius." I don't remember what genius is, over 160 or something. So all year she taught them like they were geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, they were like, "How did you do so well? That was the lowest class. How did you do so well?" She said, "What you mean that was the lowest class? You gave me their IQs at the first day of school. They were the smartest kids in the school, I thought." They were like, "No, that was the lowest group in the school." She said, "Well, what's this 162, 152?" He said, "That's their locker numbers."
But that's yeah, we work like that.
Expectations. Then she gave them all kind of opportunities, and she said, "I'm gonna teach like there's no tomorrow, and I'm gonna engage kids. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna get on the floor with them. We're gonna do group projects. We're gonna sing. We're gonna dance." Another class came in. She was like, "Y'all sit down. Don't talk to me."
Yeah. That's like it's kind of hurtful. Like I don't know what you call it, how I feel about that because of just even the districts that I have worked in, the districts with more of us, people of color, and now even the demographics are changing where we have people coming in from other countries who don't
Mhm.
speak English. And what are we expecting? What are we expecting? We're
Yeah,
expecting like they don't know this or they don't know that, but in their country they may have understood it, but it's not the language. So what are we expecting? Are we causing harm? And I'm
yeah,
just,
yeah. That's the expectation gap. Because
yeah.
this kid who came from Colombia or Brazil is brilliant on paper just because he doesn't speak that language. Because what I tell teachers, let me drop you in Brazil.
I said that.
What they gonna think of you? Let me put you in second grade in Brazil. They all speaking Portuguese, and you sitting up here trying. They gonna think, what are they gonna expect of you? Not realizing you a genius in your own language. So it's back to what you said. That's the reason why that causes that achievement gap. The expectation gap is huge.
Yeah, I'm just so okay. I'm a new teacher, and
Yeah.
I come into Trenton. That's what I know is Trenton or New Brunswick or something. Even
Mhm.
Somerset, where I live. I come there, and I have students all different ranges. You know,
Yes.
low level. I say low level because they're no, not low
I know
level.
what we
They're
know
not
what you
meeting the
mean.
standard of that grade.
We
They're
know
not
what you
even
mean. I
near.
always say who's standard. Yeah, but keep going. Who's
Yeah,
standard? Keep
hey,
going.
I'm with you.
All right, keep
Okay,
going.
what do I do? What do I do?
Yes.
I walk in the classroom. I understand this curriculum. I don't even
Yes.
know it because
Yep.
I wasn't taught it. I
Yep.
had 30-minute training
Yep.
on this curriculum.
Yep.
And I come in here and then it doesn't have graphics. It doesn't have anything for me to grab the students. How do I do that? How do I make that work?
Love this question. Let me tell you, there's a thing called relational capacity. Don't ever underestimate it. And I know you don't, but I'm, talking to the
Hmm?
audience. Don't ever underestimate it. Relational capacity. I don't care who you are, first year, 16th year, 32nd year, fresh out of college, I'm a substitute. Relational capacity. First thing I tell that teacher, you new teacher, put that curriculum down, sister. I want you to spend 2-3 weeks building relationships with these kids. I need them to like you, and I need you to like them. To me, that's over half the battle. Because all of us talking to teachers now, but think in your personal life. In your personal life, there are things you will do for certain people that you ain't gonna do for everybody. Somebody asks you, "Ooh, can you take me to the airport at 4 in the morning?" There are some people in your life you'd be like, "Okay." There are some people in your life you'd be like, "You no, you've lost your mind. There's no way. No, you better get an Uber." Why did those two people ask you the same question, but you treated them differently?
Mm-hmm.
Relationship. All of us
Absolutely.
who are teachers, all of us who are teachers, we know we've taught a kid that we've never had a problem with. Tyrone came in my class, sat down, did his work. I liked him. He liked me. Never had one problem with him. Tyrone would leave my second period every day, go to somebody else's third period, and act like he had no sense. Tyrone didn't change between the two classes. What changed was the relationship. Those teachers who build great relationships, they know we can get kids to do anything in the world for us. Now, I think are you still there, sister?
No, yeah, yeah, that was
Oh,
me.
okay.
That
I
was
see.
me.
Oh, you
I'm
just
trying to
put
be
me on the
fancy.
screen. I was like, all right, all right.
Trying to be
Yeah,
fancy.
we all have kids that would do anything in the world for us. Every teacher. And that same kid doesn't do it for another teacher. Let's be clear. The child does not change in those two classes. It's the same kid. What changes is what we call relational capacity. So, as a new teacher, or even as a person who's been doing it 34 years, the first thing I'm going to do is build relational capacity, build relationships so that that kid will do anything in the world for me.
Mhm.
Because teachers tell me, kids, well, these kids just ain't motivated. No, they actually are, because I can show you things they will do.
Yeah.
Motivation is how much will somebody inconvenience themselves for you? And I had kids, once I became better, I had kids that would inconvenient, that would do my work, that would sit down and be quiet when I wanted them to, that would do their projects, that would do their homework, that didn't have zeros in the grade book. They had zeros in the grade book for every other teacher. So why are they doing my work? It's the same kid.
Yeah.
The difference was the relational capacity. So once you invest in relationships, good, strong, appropriate relationships with students, and they say, you know what, you my favorite teacher, I'll do anything in the world for you, then now I'm ready to teach science. But we can't, because teachers will understand this. You can't get the blooms without going through Maslow. And that's what I see
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of us do. We trying to teach content, we trying to teach curriculum, we trying to get to page 52 in the book by second week of school. And these kids are like, do you even care about me? Do you
Yeah.
like me? Do you know what I'm dealing with at home? Do you even like me as a person? Do you know what my interests are? So once I do that, then the kids are ready to do anything in the world for you, because kids are motivated. Kids do want to learn. Kids are kids. It's not the kids. A big part of it is the system.
Yeah,
But again, I can't control any of that. I
yeah.
can control instruction. Part of instruction is building great relationships with kids. Because once that new teacher builds good relationships with kids, for the rest of the school year, she's not going to have any behavior problems. Well, I mean, kids are kids. She might have one or
Yeah.
two, but they can get through it. They can talk. They say, come here, let me talk to you. And you can talk to her because y'all got a relationship. Now, put your little self in that chair. Let's tomorrow's another day. But as a teacher, if I build relationships, which is part of great instruction, it's the same thing that you saw when I did that in that room of, hundreds of
Yes.
people. I made sure my music was going when y'all came in. I made sure I was down there saying hi to everybody. I think I did a little dance on the stage. What was that? That was Beyonce. It was Love on Top. I was up there doing that, and y'all were like, wait a minute, who is that? Yeah, okay. And so by the time I started teaching, y'all were with me.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you start talking, I was there.
Yeah,
This is
but
like
I'm nobody.
something.
Y'all didn't know me from Adam, so I had
No,
to intentionally build relationships because
right.
I had good curriculum. I had a good
Yeah.
script,
Uh-huh.
but I had to deliver it and build relationships with y'all so that you'd want to, so that you'd be motivated. Because you had to inconvenience yourself to sit still for 75 minutes. And I made sure you didn't sit still for 75 minutes. It's all great
Yeah.
instruction.
Yeah. And then sometimes teachers we don't want to talk to our neighbor. We don't want to get together.
Right,
But we did. The content, the subject matter was we didn't even know I didn't know the people who I was sitting around, maybe
right,
one or something. But
yeah,
we got into conversation
right.
because the content was
Be-
excellent and
because
it
of great
motivated us.
instruction. I mean, I don't want to lose that because of great instruction, because I could have given
Oh,
that
that's
same
right.
content. Let's
Content.
just say, oh, I'm sick, I can't do it. Can you go do my PowerPoint for me? They would have had the same content.
Yeah.
What was the instruction would have been different.
This
That's why I love
right.
working with teachers on instruction.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I love doing. I say, come on, move these desks. Let these kids do a Socratic seminar. Let me teach you how to get them in talking about World War II instead of listening about World War II. Or I go in a math class and the kids are problem watchers. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
they need to be problem solvers.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that you're absolutely right. It was the delivery. It was
It's the
your
instruction.
instruction. Absolutely. Because I could talk about it and I do talk about it. The same thing. People not listening to me.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever, you know what you're talking about. We don't have what we need. That's the problem. And I'm like, no. So what you gonna do about it? You're not gonna get what you need. What are you gonna do
You're
about
not.
it?
You're not. You
People
got to
don't
quit
want to hear
waiting on it. Who you waiting on? Quit waiting on the money. Quit waiting on this. Quit waiting on
that.
that. Because what I tell teachers is that kid has one shot at fifth grade. Don't play with me. He's got one shot at ninth grade. Don't play with me. So you waiting
Absolutely.
on this and waiting on this. That 13-year-old's got one shot at eighth grade. I don't have time to
Right.
play. Let's do good instruction. And I can teach you that.
Yes. Yes, you can.
I
I
can
mean, I'm
teach great
listening.
instruction.
I
Because people
know.
say some people are born teachers. No, you can make a great teacher.
Right. We can learn a skill. I
Yeah,
don't know who can't learn a skill. You may not learn the same skill I learned, but we can learn a skill. So
right.
yes. Yeah, I got a comment. Let me make sure and see who's talking.
Oh, we got
Um,
comments. Oh, come on,
we
comment. Come
got
on, question.
I don't know who that is. Hi D. I'm not
Oh,
sure who you are. Thank you. They just said
yeah.
keep on
Thanks for
doing
that
what you're doing.
comment.
Yeah, education is the key. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure who that is.
it changes the
That
trajectory of
might be
life.
Darius Daniel.
Yeah,
Darius Mayfield.
it
That's
changes trajectory. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading a comment and yeah, because he is if that's Darius. I'm not quite sure who that is. He's the guy who I said he was a congressional candidate who came
Oh,
online.
yes, yes, yes,
Joe.
yes. Welcome.
Well,
Good luck to you.
his push is for education, and
Yes.
he's this is how we connected because of this talk right here,
We
this
need
kind of
we
talk.
need good people. We need good people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
So
right.
I can talk about this all night.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know we have so many like the systems. I always say our system is broke. I always say our system is broken, but we still have to work. We still
Yeah.
have to educate our students. I was taught by a former principal. She came in and she did a talk with the teachers, and she said, I don't care who you have in your classroom. Your job is to educate those students. I don't care if they don't speak your language. You still have to educate those students. So I learned really from a lot from that. Just that sentence. I have to educate these kids. What am I going to do? I'm just going to say I can't teach them because they don't speak English. No,
Yeah.
you gotta do something.
Right. But you'd be surprised that some of us do say that.
Yeah.
There,
Oh,
some of us do say that. Well, they don't speak English, so I can't teach them. And I always tell teachers, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. When a teacher
Right.
tells me that she can or he can, she's right.
Right. I suffer from that, and it wasn't because I didn't think I could teach the students. Because last year I had we call shelter. That's
Yeah.
something that we get a pass on. I forgot what we call it, where we have not enough bilingual teachers. So you give them the English teacher, and she
Oh,
teaches
yeah.
the English.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to teach them in English, but I was able to use, the Spanish that I knew. And then I got to a new year where I had to swap students with a bilingual teacher. So my students, they didn't listen to me because they knew they had a Spanish speaking teacher. So it was hard. I said, for one thing, I had to teach them English. So I was so stuck. I said, I can't teach these students. I can teach them English, but I can't teach them literacy when I can't teach. I had to teach them English. So I was stuck. I was suffering. Then I had to make up my mind. I'm gonna get through to these students no matter what. Then I got changed because I was struggling.
Right.
But because I said you need me where I'm best able to perform.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, I still had to educate those students.
Right.
And I did. I suffered through it. We all suffered through it. But I had in my head, okay, I could teach them something.
Right.
Teach them something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get stuck there. And
Yeah.
that's something.
And what I hear is your behavior changed because your belief and expectation changed because you were stuck in these kids can't or I can, and then you and your belief said, you know what, I got to do something. It may be different, but I'm going to do something. And a lot of us stay stuck where you were.
Yeah.
And we just play that until June.
Yeah.
That kid had one shot at third grade.
Yeah. So I I love this. I mean, we could go through the different factors, the different variables, but I don't want to just hold you or keep saying the same thing. But what I take from this is instruction. And we must perform. We must educate our students. And that's our job. That's the job we took, to educate our students. So let's get on the job and don't take all these excuses, all these factors that are getting in the way. Or we letting them get in the way.
Yes. And be vulnerable, be open, be transparent, be honest. We teachers, we need to say, I need help. I don't know how to do this. We're not used to that. You need to reach out and say, hey, who's got some great strategies? Or I want to be able to go to some professional development, or I want some coaching, or, and coach each other. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take leaders or principals to come in. Some of the best coaching I've ever had was another teacher watching me, giving me feedback, and me going to watch the other teacher during my planning period. And we would discuss and collaborate. So I'm like, who you waiting on? Don't be waiting on, because everybody's got a job to do. You need more coaching and reach out for help. You need more coaching than a leader is going to give you, but just by the very nature of everything else that we have to do. So how are you investing in your coaching? I know a lot of people sit back, well, they don't, I don't get this, I don't get that. Well, it's available to you. Who you waiting on?
Yeah, we did. Last school year, we had one of the consultants from our reading program come in and model. She had second and third grade teachers together in a
Yeah.
class, modeled for my classroom. Then she came back and she modeled a different type of lesson. She did my reading for us and writing for the third grade. And we came and we discussed it. We came together to see what we got.
Yeah.
And it was great, because a lot of people didn't know what to do. You
Right.
know, we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And
We
so
don't.
just
Mhm.
watching it.
Yeah. And you have to be vulnerable because there are a lot of teachers who would refuse that, thinking it makes them look weak. I'm the main one. Come watch me. Come teach my class. Let me watch you, because that's the only way you're going to get better. So don't deny your bless. Don't block your blessing by saying I got this, or I don't need any help. No, you do. And even
Yes.
if you believe you don't, you can be better. I mean, I'm
Yes.
good now. I didn't start there. This is 34
Mm-hmm.
years of getting better every year and being vulnerable and open and transparent and honest. I need help here. Yeah, I need this type of support. Here's what I'd like. So me saying this is what I need and realizing it's here. People are willing to help you. I would love to
Yes.
come in and help with instruction on, if you're listening to this and you say, I need to do a better job of instruction. We actually can teach that to you. We can give you
Yes.
strategies. These strategies that I use all the time, I didn't know them coming out of teachers college. I learned them and I realized they work, but I had to have somebody teach them to me.
Right. So with that said, I can go to I see you have an email and your Twitter. So
Yeah.
will I get strategies? If I go to your Twitter page, will I see strategies to help
No, you
me?
won't.
I
No.
will.
No, but you can email me and I can work with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll work. And then the company you work for, they are strategists, educational strategists.
What I love about us is we are about college and career readiness for
Mm-hmm.
all kids. And our mission is this full circle. Our mission is to close the opportunity gap. That's why we exist. That's why I love this job. I get out of bed every day. I jump out of bed. I get to go to work. Love it because my whole focus, and I love working with schools and districts. So if you're a school or a district watching this and you say, we need some help with closing opportunity gaps, because I want you to quit chasing the achievement gap. It ain't going to happen. You've got to chase what causes it. So I get to work with schools and districts to make sure they close the opportunity gap so that all of their kids are college and career ready. Because I'm about rising, a rising tide rises all boats. I want every
Absolutely.
kid. Yes, I mean, love focusing on students who are marginalized and students who are like me and students
Mhm.
who may not have the opportunities, but I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I want all boats to rise. Because don't
Right.
don't think that your highest kids up here
Mhm.
are doing the best they can. You just
Right.
hanging your hat on them because they better than this group. But I can go to a school next door and their highest group is up here. And you talking about how high your group is. Don't all rising tide. I want to the rising tide, or I want to rise all boats.
I like that. Yes. So I'm just like, okay. So that's the reason that I have this podcast
Yes,
actually is to offer strategies, provide strategies. I have the biblical principles, but
yes,
when you break down any principle, I promise you it's going to be you say, raise up a child in the way he should go. That
yes,
is teaching a child how to learn, teaching a child
yes,
how to go after what it is they need to go
yes,
after to get what
yes,
they're trying to get. So
yeah.
I can take every principle strategy back and take it to the Bible or vice versa.
Yes,
So
you can.
that
Yes.
is yeah. So that is where
Yeah,
the reason
you know
I'm
there's
here.
nothing
I
new under the sun.
know,
You
and
trace
then
it right back.
yeah, and then we need help, like you said. We need help. I'm tired of seeing teachers old and kind of crazy. Like we don't have to be.
Okay, she said that. Uh
I I said
no,
kind of
I know
crazy.
what you mean though, because and here's the deal. I hate seeing it as well because I know all of us went into it for the right reason. I can't find a teacher who went into it for the money. I can't find a teacher who went into it for all the prestige in the community. We all went into it for the right reason. It's just something happens
Yes.
over the years that That's what I love doing. Like when I came to your district, part of my job was to just put a spark in and say, hey, yeah, let me remind you why you doing this. Sometimes
Absolutely.
we need that.
I'm glad you came, and I'm
Yeah,
glad you
yeah,
came here
yeah.
to
Because there were a lot of people like you who said, you preaching to the choir, but I always tell them the choir needs rehearsal.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you, because you said that, that caused me to think some more, because
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm a good teacher, but I could be better. My thing is, let's be great teachers, and that's an
Yes.
over all
Yes.
around thing.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
again, I want to. Yeah, I don't know anybody had any questions. I don't see any comments, but um, just to wind it up,
Yes.
take us out with, I don't know, one good. You already gave it to us. We didn't listen. We didn't listen. We're not gonna listen. But give us one last, that we could put in quotes. Said that came from Patrick Briggs.
Yes. Oh, if you're going to quote it, let's go. I got so many good quotes, but here's what I'm going to say just based on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot we don't control. The thing that will make the biggest difference in the lives of children is one thing we do control, and that is great, engaging, and rigorous instruction. I control that.
Take a deep breath. Yes, I am really. Yes, I love it, and we do control that. And again, I thank you for coming. I thank you for your
Sure.
time. And
Anytime.
this was an amazing episode. This is to me this is amazing to me. And again, I am Ronnette Branham here with Educators with Oil, offering biblical strategies for effective teaching. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And also follow Patrick Briggs on Twitter. And if
Yes.
you would like him to come and visit your district, there's his email, pbriggs
Yes.
at avid.org.
All right.
Thank you.
I see you, Sister Sanchez. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yes, you're right, Zenaida. This was amazing. This was part two. This was absolutely amazing, and thank you so much.
Now
Have
you
a
said part
blessed
two. You
day.
talking about part two for you, not for the
Part
audience.
two for me,
Right,
for
right.
Zenaida
Not for the
also.
audience. Yeah.
Zenaida,
All right. Invite
yeah.
me back for part three. All right.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, to be happy and healthy. Yes,
I see that
this
as
was
well.
awesome
Thank
for
you
us.
for that comment. Yes.
Yes, I appreciate you watching, everybody. My guests, I really appreciate it. I thank you again. I'm gonna keep on saying thank you.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day.
Yes.